Today I'm at Hainault. Hainault is a station on the Central Line, on what is called the Hainault Loop, in fact. These are the kind of insights that keep people coming back. Now, when I said Barkingside Station was in Essex, people in the comments section complained that it's actually in London, and when I said Gants Hill was in London, people in the comments section complained that it's actually in Essex. As I can't win either way, Hainault is a station on the Central Line of the London Underground located in Western New Guinea just outside the city of Timika. But seriously, Hainault's history is similar in many ways to Barkingside, Newbury Park and the other stations on this bit of the Central Line. It was built in 1903 by the Great Eastern Railway. It got taken over by the London and North Eastern Railway in 1923, and in 1947 it became part of the London Underground. That's the basics. The first railway in this area was the Great Eastern's line to Loughton, and was so often the case the railway brought suburban development with it. At the start of the 20th century, the Great Eastern decided that you couldn't have too much of a good thing, and built what was then known as the Fairlop Loop, and is now known as the Hainault Loop. I don't know what Fairlop did, but it must have been pretty awful. Hainault was to be one of the stations, obviously. The London County Council saw the area as being ripe for redevelopment, having acquired Hainault Forest and Fox Burrows Farm in 1902 for that very purpose. Unfortunately, development was very, very slow to come. These houses you see here were actually built by the railway itself to house workers. Meanwhile, Hainault Station was getting something in the region of 20 passengers a day, and the Great Eastern decided it wasn't worth pursuing. The station was closed in 1908. Then, a little over 20 years later, development finally did come. Private developers began buying land. Further housing was built by the LCC over the next couple of decades, and so in 1930 the station was reopened. But things were about to change again. In 1933 the London Passenger Transport Board was formed, and in 1935 they announced their intention to take Hainault and the rest of the old Great Eastern lines here over as part of their New Works programme. It was hoped that underground trains into the heart of the city would encourage suburban growth, as indeed they did. The changes made by the underground at this station are pretty obvious. The station is half the Edwardian architecture of the Great Eastern Railway, half the Art Deco style of the underground. The Art Deco half, very typical of the later work of underground architect Charles Holden, was put in because this side of the station had to be redeveloped. The reason it had to be redeveloped was because they were adding this depot, which is very visible from the station, or indeed from trains to Woodford. I don't know if there were ever plans to redevelop the Great Eastern bit, but I'm rather glad it remains. The station was refurbished in 2009 and now boasts the shallowest lift on the underground, which travels a grand total of 1.5 feet, and I forgot to get footage of it because I'm an idiot. For present-day travellers, Hainault is also notable for being the place where Central Line trains from London terminate and trains to Woodford begin. The section from Woodford to Hainault is kind of an oddity. It's the least used section of the underground, and indeed from 1960 to 1990 it was operated entirely separately from the rest of the line. In the 1960s it was used as a testing ground for the system of automatic train operation that would later be adopted on the Victoria Line. So when people make a big thing about driverless trains on the underground, you should know that the technology's been there since the 60s. These days, it is possible to get a train all the way around the loop if you arrive at the right time of day, but the loop is still usually operated in two sections. So that's the turbulent tale of Hainault, from a station no one used to an essential part of the Central Line. It's come a long way, baby. Now let's see if I can figure out which train gets me home. Hello all, I hope you enjoyed this semi-Art Deco tale from the tube. I'd like to give an extra special thanks to my donors on Ko-fi and Patreon, because thanks to your generous financial assistance, I've been able to upgrade my equipment, and this is the first full video I've made with it. Well, I did a couple of test videos, but I don't really count them. I've been having some significant technical issues with the old stuff, and I'm really not happy with some of the videos that have been going out lately. You may have noticed that, for instance, my video on the slice of reality was really low quality. Well, that was because I couldn't get it to publish otherwise. I should probably look into remaking that at some point. That would be cool. Anyway, this is going to prevent issues like that in the future, I hope, and allow me to make bigger, better videos going forward. So yes, you are the the brand new equipment to my YouTube channel. And I'll see you all again very soon for another tale from the tube.